When I was a kid, there was a gangster. Real old school type. Rex Calabrese. When I'm 14 or something, he has a heart attack and dies. Still holding a cigar. The new kingpin of Gotham.
So ladies, gentlemen, Bat family out there, welcome to the in-depth trailer breakdown for the Penguin official teaser trailer. Now, check out my reaction that I posted before this if you haven't already seen it. I kind of get a bit overexcited, but since then, I have done a lot of watching. I've watched it again and again and again. I have cross-referenced it with previous information that we've known about the Penguin that's been out there. And honestly, I'm quite excited to dive into this. We're going to see what it connects to with certain scenes that we see in this trailer that turned out to be pretty damn interesting, to the point in where there's honestly a bunch of things we can talk about here. And I can't wait to see your thoughts on what I'm about to say down in that comment section, because there's a lot of theory crafting to be had here. So go ahead, like this video. If you do go on to enjoy it, double check if you're subscribed, because you might not be. You might think you are. A lot of you have said recently, oh, I thought I was. But when I asked you to check, some of you said, oh, I wasn't. So maybe that's you. Double check for more videos covering Matt Reeves' Batverse just like this. So let's get into the very beginning of this, where the trailer picks up with this gorgeous shot, guys, as the camera pans down into something that I feel, and look, when I say stuff like this, I admit I may be projecting and reaching a little bit, but with the camera panning down like this, I do feel like it depicts what the tone of this series is, as, you know, we're just going down, down, down into the Gotham underworld, into the criminal element, if you will. I have to admit, it would have been pretty cool to see a bat signal in the sky in this beginning shot, but maybe that would have been a bit too tropey, so I wonder if that's why they left it out. But we do hear Oz tell this story throughout the trailer, in where he speaks in awe, and that's the key thing. He's really in awe of how, when he was a kid, there was this real old school type gangster by the name of Rex Calabrese. Now, what I love so much about Oz Cobblepot's lines here is that you can clearly, very clearly tell that he had such adoration for the type of mob boss that he grew up watching as a kid. One of whom not only, you know, the wrong type of people feared, but lots of people actually respected at the same time, due to the help that he offered to various Gotham citizens in different neighborhoods, to the point of his neighborhood throwing a parade in Rex Calabrese's honor. Now, the effect this particular mob boss had on Oz's life at such a young age, up until present day, is so evident and visible in his face here when he mentions how he died still holding his cigar. Like, that really seemed to kind of tickle him, but in like a way that was like, he just loved that. You know, what a way to kind of be remembered.
Still holding a cigar. In my neighborhood, they throw a parade in his honor. A freaking parade.
And perhaps even Oz, I think, you know, it would be fair to say, models himself and his own style here after Rex Calabrese, especially with the cigar, because as we know, that's a part of Penguin's iconic look, and we actually finally see him with a cigar, which, you know, he wasn't even allowed to have before. Colin Farrell said they wouldn't even let him have an unlit cigar. So, you know, the Penguin's going to be a little bit grittier than, I guess, even the Batman was allowed to be. Now, why am I talking about Penguin's own role model, if you will, or inspiration here? It really comes down to the character of what this series is. It's kind of like a long-form character study, not only about, obviously, Penguin's rise to power, but Oz Cobblepot. And the narration in this trailer is key to kind of unraveling, I guess you could say, one of the goals of this series, and that is the Penguin. What fuels Oz to have become the man he is today, or wants to be? And so I really appreciated that reference to a former mob boss there. And the thing is, with all the ambition that Oz has, he's grown up with people thinking that he's not really much of anything, which clearly, you know, only further emboldens him to be something in this city, you know, a mob boss who is also just as respected. Now, Rex Calabrese was like the big top dog mob boss, even before that of Salvatore Maroni and Carmine Falcone, or Falcone, if you will, in the comics, before they were even rivaling each other, let alone before Batman even hit the streets. You know, under the surface and within the writing here, there's a lot more to look at. And again, after a life of Oz not really being glanced at twice, it's clear that Oz means to prove himself and really to just, I think, feel validated out there amongst other, you know, crime families, or even, as he referenced with the Calabrese story, the people within the neighborhoods. There's even lines in the Batman, well, technically that deleted scene from the Batman. I don't know how many of you have seen that. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't, but there's actually a scene with Selina Kyle that was cut in where she refuses to take his money. He kind of like takes that the wrong way for a second and is like, what, I'm not good enough for you? But then he goes on to say to her, you know, I know you don't see it yet, honey. Nobody does. But Falcone ain't gonna be around forever. One day, this city's gonna be mine. Now, what I like about that line to Selina is that it kind of personifies what I've been going on about here, just with the opening lines of him talking about that former mob boss who inspired him, I guess, as a 14-year-old, is it was a line that was initially coming out of insecurity, well, I'm not good enough, I know you don't see it yet, nobody does, but that fuels his ambition to become the man he's gonna be by the end of this series. Now, another factor to bear in mind is that this could be, like this whole scene, could be the very scene in where, in the in-production teaser, he shoots down that person standing in front of him. Now, I think this is that same location. You can also just tell with the background. You can also tell by this big chair that Oz is sitting in with that huge armrest. So this could be another person he's speaking to. Like, obviously, it could be a different time, sat in the exact same chair. Or it could be the same person he's speaking to in that original trailer, but just in this new teaser with some extended lines about him telling the story of Rex Calabrese. And he ends up getting shot multiple times, as we know in that original in-production teaser. Now, you may be wondering, who is it that he kills? I mean, I guess I will say it is too hard to know. It could be a rival of note, because they are hiding the identity of the person he's speaking to in both trailers. But yeah, again, that is just me reading into it. It could just be a goon or a henchman of one of his rivals that he's going up against. Continuing on here, some other takeaways from these beginning scenes in the trailer are that Gotham is clearly no longer flooded in the way it was at the ending events of the Batman. Now, I did state this almost a year ago in that in-production teaser that we got, as we did indeed see that Oz was walking to the Iceberg Lounge, which we know is located in Tri-Corner, which is located in downtown Gotham, in which is the very island of Gotham in where Riddler blew up the seawalls in order for it to flood. So I feel like I've known this for a while. I've just seen some people out there on social media point out it's no longer flooded, but I'm like, we kind of saw some of these scenes, you know, a year ago, but I guess we've got a few extra scenes, a few perspectives of the iconic look of Oz Cobblepot here with the umbrella. But yeah, clearly there's no flooding. However, you know, I'm not saying that there's no damage still in the city that was caused by the floods, because there's things like cars being flung to the sides of the streets, not having been removed yet. So there's still quite a bit of repair to be done. Another thing here is I also absolutely love, and I've seen a lot of people going on about this, is the parallel shots of Penguin going up to Falcone's office. It obviously mirrors that shot of Bruce Wayne when he went to go see Falcone in an effort to find the truth about what the Riddler claimed about the Waynes. And if you don't remember as much, it's how the Riddler accused Thomas Wayne for ordering Carmine Falcone to kill Edward Elliot, in which good old Alfred debunked, if you will, to Bruce Wayne in the hospital. Now, this is where we see a brief shot of Oz lighting up his lighter and, you know, I guess setting fire to what I can imagine will be a very big explosion that will piss a lot of his enemies off. Now, this is where it kind of just overall highlights in the trailer with some various fast clips, you know, how messy things are going to get, with those also contending to fill the vacuum of power that Carmine Falcone left behind. And just what this means for the violence of the series. I mean, you know, here we see Oz getting a sledgehammer out the trunk of his car. Then there's this knife coming out, somebody trying to shoot him while he's in the driver's seat of his car. Things are just going to get crazy. So you may be just kind of thinking at this point, okay, so who are these characters? Who are the main players, the contenders, the enemies? Well, we know one of them is Johnny Viti. He was actually first shown in that in-production teaser, and he's been described as this ill-tempered cousin of the family. In the comics, Viti is the nephew of Don Falcone. Now, we even see Oz charge at Johnny Viti in this shot in the new teaser trailer, and it's really interesting because it kind of looks like there's a meeting going on with a few other characters blurred in the background, so it kind of made me think, you know, I wonder what makes Oz lose his temper like this. Perhaps it's as simple as him being disrespected. I mean, remember, after being called by Falcone nothing more than just a gimp in the suit, well, Oz almost lit the whole place up with his Uzi or whatever it was. So, you know, again, just highlighting a big part of this is about, as Oz says about Rex Calabrese, respect, you know, and what he meant to people. And, you know, I think he takes things very seriously. So I'm looking forward to Michael Kelly. I think he's awesome. Enjoyed him in several things. But then there's, of course, Sofia Falcone, who clearly, you know, as the daughter of Falcone, wants to fill the position her father left behind. But she might be in some competition with her own family as well, you know, such as Johnny Viti, and maybe others wanting to claim it for themselves. Now, from reports a long time ago, we know that it's been rumored that she may have spent some time in Arkham in the past, which is maybe why we could be seeing those Arkham scenes in this trailer. It would add up. Not only that, ladies and gentlemen, we have also heard about her brother from official reports from Variety and some of those rumors as well, Alberto Falcone. Now, Variety reported that Alberto Falcone is being played by Michael Zegan here. I might have butchered that pronunciation. But this does very much so look to be him in Arkham here, and it appears he's tapping on the interview room glass. So maybe I don't know if this is a flashback or how the series starts, but maybe he went to visit Sofia in Arkham at this moment. I mean, I think that's almost a given here. The thing about Alberto Falcone as well, from what's been described for his character, is that Alberto is an addict battling his demons, something that makes his job as the new head of the Falcone family quite difficult. Alberto is a socialite in his 30s who is unprepared for his newfound responsibility in Gotham. Now, ever since I broke that down, God knows how long ago now, I've always said he's probably clearly not as capable as his sister, which may be funny to say since she's coming out of Arkham, but I don't think he can handle it, whereas she's the one wearing the boots, so to speak. And it makes me wonder if he'll even last long in the series. Now, this is a reaching theory, but with the new scene that we get in this trailer of Sofia screaming here, again, random theory, I wonder if this could even be her reaction to losing her brother, maybe as a result of the mob war or something or another. But yeah, I feel like he's just going to be a character. He doesn't have it together, and he's an addict. He's been flung into this position as the heir, I guess, and then bang, Sofia has to take over after losing her brother. I don't know anything about that, by the way. Behind the scenes, that is just theory crafting before anyone wonders, hey, is he drip feeding us real info here and posing his theories? No, honestly, I'm not. Just a theory. Would love to know your thoughts about that, but I really wouldn't be surprised. It's almost a predictable thing. The thing is, with regards to Sofia, I feel like she could ally with the Penguin, given what we've seen in the first trailer. I believe, if I remember correctly, they were like toasting to something at that restaurant table. I think it's a situation in reality where it's a kind of the enemy of my enemy is my friend until you're not my friend. So not ruling out any backstabbing here on that temporary alliance that could be had between Sofia and Oz. Now, speaking of Arkham, there are other scenes in this trailer, one of note containing Theo Rossi. Now, I've been really excited for Theo Rossi ever since he joined the cast in that Deadline or Variety report, as I really enjoyed his role in Sons of Anarchy years and years ago. Now, very interestingly here, we see him with another doctor and also this Arkham patient who is shaking while being strapped up there, and I guess maybe it's some shock therapy. Now, we can't be sure if this is Sofia because we don't get a good look at the face, but it might be. I noticed that there's long fingernails there, but I don't know. You might be a guy wanting long fingernails. I don't know. But one of the doctors could match the description of one of the casting calls. Again, not really spoilery, just kind of ambiguous. It was stated by the Illuminati that HBO Max, or now Max, is looking for a male actor in their 40s to play Dr. Ruben De Soto, whose work is less than ethical. So, you know, Arkham Asylum, I mean, Jesus, or Arkham State Hospital. hospital here. Let's just say that I wouldn't be surprised, along with other doctors like Hugo and whatnot, if some of them do some outdated forms of treatment. So I think that's what could be going on here. I don't know, that might be why Sofia comes out a little bit like, I don't know. Now, one thing I want to mention with regards to Arkham, just to be very transparent here, I mentioned I think if I'm showing the thumbnail on screen in this video, that I heard a rumor about Jonathan Crane being a doctor in Arkham. Now, I couldn't be sure about it. I never really passed it off as, and I would never really want to. I find it quite cheesy when scoopers, if you will, say, oh, this is happening, as if, it's a factual statement. But the thing what I've heard with regards to Crane, or the Scarecrow, of course, is that might not actually pan out to be true anymore, because it may turn out to be the case that it was intended to be that way for a certain cast member, if you will, to be implemented as that character in the Penguin series. But from what I'm hearing, things took a different turn as just things developed for the series. Now, I know that kind of sounds like a bit of copium, like, oh, you said this rumor, but now you're saying, oh, it just changed along the way. The funny thing is, I'll say in full transparency here, again, I labeled it as a rumor, but secondly, things actually do happen like that. The thing is, as well, I heard this from a source who I can confirm is absolutely mother-flipping legit, as in, let's just say it candidly here, I have seen shit that just is literal Penguin level shit that cannot be refuted, if you know what I mean. Which just makes the foundation of that rumor I presented months ago all the more interesting if it does turn out to be that it was once the case, but it then changed along the way. But yeah, I just wanted to be upfront about that. I guess this is why I'm not in the scooper business, but it is something I want to look into a little bit deeper, as I said, because again, the source is legit, so it makes me intrigued as to, genuinely why things may have changed when perhaps they were originally thinking about putting Scarecrow with this particular casting as this particular doctor in Arkham. But hey, if I ever learn anything more about that, I will keep you posted, because again, I saw very compelling things and I'm very damn intrigued. And wonder now is, how expansive is the Batverse going to go if maybe, let's just assume what I heard was true, and they were putting Crane in this series as a doctor in Arkham. Where would that have gone? Would that have gone into the original conceived concept of the Arkham series that has now been cannibalized and pitched for the DCU? Do you know what I mean? I'm not trying to start conspiracies here. It's just, it is very interesting, because at the time of when I reported that rumor, we didn't know about the DCU Arkham series. At that time, it was just a Batverse series. So I was like, oh, this makes sense. Maybe they might segue him into that and, that kind of thing. So anyway, moving onwards. Then we have Salvatore Maroni. He's still in Blackgate after 20 years, but we know his wife is played by the amazing Shorea Dashlu. I am so happy. The casting of this series is freaking amazing. And she's seen very briefly in this trailer, but a little bit more in that first in-production teaser, where it looks like she's questioning Oz with her men, and we get a bit of a, take it easy, sweetheart moment. Now, I wonder if this will be maybe eventually another situation of what I said a second ago, like an enemy of my enemy is my friend until they're not, as we see Oz literally go to Blackgate to visit present-day Salvatore Maroni, of which I cannot wait for that scene. But yeah, Oz could just be very sneaky that way, seemingly allies until he stabs them in the back as well, because we all know that he wants to be Kingpin at the end of the day. But yeah, just to reiterate, super hyped about Clancy Brown playing Sal Maroni, and I'm just really happy that we've got a little glimpse of him in this trailer, and I wonder what kind of conversations could be had there. Now, not everyone is going to be an enemy. Here we have an ally, Rhenzy Feliz's character. But I wonder if this scene that you see in the new teaser trailer is how Penguin could meet his very own, what seems to be right-hand man. Now, Oz here sees a few people scouring around his car, perhaps maybe trying to steal something from it, and shouts, hey, he points the gun, and, it just cuts there, and we go to the next scene in the teaser trailer. But I think this could be Rhenzy Feliz in the background. Now, I think Penguin will then hold the gun up to him and just be like, right, I'll let you off if you do this thing for me, and then they kind of fall in with each other. Now, I honestly think the use of Rhenzy Feliz's character will be used to kind of explore the facets or the different facets, or I guess you could say the humanity or layers to Oz that I was getting into at the beginning of this breakdown. What I mean by that as well is how Oz may see a little bit of himself in this kid. Maybe he wants Rhenzy Feliz's character to look at him the same way a young 14-year-old Oz Cobblepot looked up to Rex Calabrese. I think there's something poetic in that. The more I go down that theory or that route of thinking, I'm kind of worried that maybe, if initially and what we see Oz and Rhenzy Feliz's character's dynamic is one that is quite enjoyable, I just hope that he doesn't end up dying in this like really sad scene, because I can imagine there being like a really painful feelsy moment where maybe his character ends up as collateral damage in this effort to be Kingpin, and perhaps that even messes with Oz quite a bit. It's something that could be explored a little bit with how you see a little bit of the lighter side with Oz not training, but kind of making a mini Oz out of that kid, and then just losing that kid once he's right at the end of it and he died helping Oz get there. Oh, that would kind of break my heart, actually. I hope that happens, but also I hope it doesn't happen, if you know what I mean. Now, I think I've covered this trailer pretty damn extensively, but I know people are going to be asking, okay, what about Bruce Wayne? Are we going to see him in the series? I think that is possible. I do want to entertain it. I have entertained it many times on the channel before, but so far, to my knowledge, there wasn't really any teasers of that in this trailer. However, this is a teaser. That's important to remember. Technically, the in-production trailer was a teaser, but it doesn't really count as a proper trailer. It was like an in-production look. This is the first teaser, and then we're going to get like the official trailer 1, the official trailer 2 / final trailer. And maybe what I've always said is that we could see the rebuilding efforts of Gotham. Now, yeah, granted, the flooding is kind of done with, but there's damage, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw, at the very least, maybe some recycled footage of Robert Pattinson's Bruce Wayne, or like some kind of news report with a photo of him in the background. So you have the reporter here saying, and, Bruce Wayne has pledged, or I don't know, this amount of money to help restore you get my point, help the effort to clean up Gotham. It would be so cool if they went above and beyond that and actually got Robert Pattinson in to film a scene as Bruce Wayne, of course, maybe as Batman. I know a lot of people like to use the example of seeing Robert Pattinson at like LAX or something around the time they were filming the Penguin finale or something like that. You can't really read too deep into that. He could have been flying anywhere, do you know what I mean? But maybe it was just something. Maybe. And if it's bridging the gap between the Batman Part 1 and 2, what I've always really liked the idea of is a scene of Batman and Penguin contrasting the scene in the Iceberg Lounge, and where we had that scene in the Batman, and where Batman pushed Oz up against the glass, it cracks, Batman doesn't really think much of him, and, Batman probably wouldn't fear anyone, obviously, but there's maybe another scene like that, let's just say, in the Penguin series, in where, let's just say, Batman drops in on something, he's the new Kingpin. It's kind of like an appointment of, evaluating the new status quo, because clearly that's changed. There's a new Kingpin in town. And this time, maybe Batman can't quite treat him the same way. He comes across the Penguin, that is, as Kingpin, more formidable to the Batman. And maybe it's more of like a, I've got my eyes on you, Pengy. To see a scene with Pattinson just coming in, and it's kind of like seeing the new chessboard of the new Kingpin that he has to deal with, and Oz is just like, hey, look at me now, vengeance. That would be pretty cool. And, I'm not saying show Batman scared or whatever, but he's kind of like, damn. I'm not saying he's going to go damn, but you get my point. Something like that would be really cool. Let me know what you would like to see from Bruce Wayne, or Batman, or both, if we're lucky enough to get 2 scenes, let alone 1. But that is everything I've got to say in this very rambly, very in-depth trailer breakdown, well, for the teaser trailer for the Penguin series. So let me know what you thought about what I had to say. Let me know if you can expand on anything. Let me know your own theories. I love reading every single comment, especially in videos like this. But ladies and gentlemen, if you want to stay up to date with more videos like this, please do consider subscribing. You may think you subscribed, but it might just be that YouTube recommends you my videos. But hey, double check, and you might not be. And maybe today is the day you do subscribe. Consider liking it. It really just lets YouTube know that, hey, you're watching my video. People enjoy it, so maybe we're going to share it with even more people. I would greatly appreciate that. But until next time, ladies and gentlemen, just thank you again so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you, Bat Family, in the next video. Goodbye.